We have seen family feuds, we have seen property disputes, and we have seen the bitter aftermath of divorce play out on reality television. But what is unfolding right now in the world of Little People, Big World is not just a scandal. It is a moral catastrophe. We are looking at what might be the final nail in the coffin for the relationship between Matt, Caryn, and the rest of the Roloff family. New reports and exclusive theories suggest that the recent tabloid attacks against Amy Roloff were not random. They were not just lucky guesses by gossip columnists. The evidence we are piecing together points to an inside job so calculated and so cruel that it changes everything. We are talking about the alleged theft and sale of Amy's private handwritten divorce diaries, her darkest thoughts sold for cash, and the person allegedly behind the camera snapping photos of Amy's pain. The evidence points directly to Caryn Chandler. This is the story of the ultimate betrayal. Before we dive deep into the investigation that is tearing the internet apart, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to LPBW Update. We are the only channel brave enough to connect these dots and bring you the theories the network doesn't want you to hear. Turn on those notifications because this story is developing fast and you do not want to miss the fallout. Let's set the scene for this nightmare scenario. We all know that the transition of the farmhouse has been a major point of contention. For decades, that home was Amy's sanctuary, and leaving it was one of the hardest things she ever had to do. But even after she moved out, remnants of her life remained in the attic, in the closets, and in the dusty corners of that massive property. Insider theories suggest that during a recent clean-out phase, supposedly to prepare the house for short-term rentals or renovations, Caryn took it upon herself to sort through boxes that had been left behind. This wasn't just cleaning, this was an excavation of Amy's past. Buried deep within a box labeled for storage, hidden beneath old photo albums and tax documents, were Amy's private journals. These weren't just day planners. These were the raw, unfiltered, handwritten diaries from the absolute rock bottom of her marriage to Matt. We are talking about the years where she felt the most alone, the moments where she suspected Matt was drifting away, and her honest, heartbreaking thoughts about Caryn entering the picture as a farm employee. These pages contain the tears she never cried on camera. They were sacred. Any decent human being would have taped that box shut and called Amy to come pick it up. But according to the devastating narrative that is currently emerging, that is not what happened. The theory is that Caryn saw those journals not as a memory, but as a weapon and a payday. Suddenly, a notorious tabloid blog, one known for being particularly vicious towards reality stars, began publishing a series of exclusive articles. They weren't just vague rumors. These articles contained direct quotes, specific dates, and details about Amy's mental state that no outsider could possibly know. The headlines were brutal. They painted Amy as unhinged, bitter, and obsessed with the past. They claimed to have a source close to the family who provided proof of Amy's instability. The articles described her private fears about her self-worth and her darkest moments of depression during the divorce. It was a smear campaign designed to humiliate her publicly and destroy the happy new life she has built with Chris. Amy was reportedly devastated. Imagine waking up and seeing your most private 3 a.m. thoughts splashed across the internet, twisted to make you look crazy. It is a violation of privacy that goes beyond legal issues. It is a violation of the soul. The emotional toll on Amy was visible to everyone around her. She couldn't understand how this blogger knew these things. She hadn't told anyone these specific details. Her lawyers immediately sent a cease and desist letter to the tabloid, demanding they retract the statements and reveal their source. Of course, the blogger refused, citing journalistic protection. They thought they were safe. They thought the anonymity of the internet would protect the leak. But they made one fatal mistake. In an effort to prove the authenticity of their exclusive story, the tabloid posted a grainy, zoomed-in photo of one of the journal pages. They wanted to show the handwriting to prove it was really Amy's. They cropped it heavily, trying to hide the surroundings, but they missed a tiny, microscopic detail. The page was written in a glossy, heavy ink, and the photo was taken under a bright overhead light. In the corner of the page, caught in the sheen of the ink, was a reflection. It wasn't a clear mirror image, but it was enough. It showed the reflection of the phone that took the picture. And specifically, it showed the phone case. This is where the story takes a turn that feels like a crime thriller. Enter Audrey Roloff. Love her or hate her, Audrey has an eye for aesthetics and details. She is always online, always looking at trends, and she notices things. Seeing Amy in such deep pain, the family rallied to figure out where the leak was coming from. Audrey was analyzing the screenshots posted by the blog, zooming in, trying to find a clue. That is when she saw it, the reflection in the ink. It was a geometric marbleized pattern with a very specific gold foil inlay. It wasn't a generic case you pick up at a mall kiosk. It was a limited edition designer case from a boutique brand that had done a small drop just a month prior. The realization reportedly hit Audrey like a ton of bricks. She didn't just recognize the brand, she recognized that specific case. Why? Because just a few weeks before the leak started, during a family gathering at the farm, Caryn had been showing off that exact new phone case on her Instagram stories. She had bragged about snagging the limited edition design. Audrey pulled up the archive stories, and there it was. The pattern in the reflection matched Caryn's case perfectly. The angle, the gold foil, the marble swirl, it was a fingerprint. But a phone case, while damning, is circumstantial. The family needed more. They needed to know if money changed hands. If Caryn just took a photo and shared it with a friend who leaked it, that's one thing. But if she sold it, that is malicious. That is business. According to our insider theories, the family quietly hired a cybersecurity expert, someone who specializes in digital forensics and tracking money trails. They didn't tell Matt yet. They needed to be sure. They needed the smoking gun. The expert went to work. They couldn't hack the bank, but they could track the digital footprint of the tabloid's payments. Tabloids often pay sources through third-party apps or wire transfers to keep things off the books. However, this specific blog had a sloppy history of routing payments through a known shell account to protect their own tax liabilities. The expert managed to trace a significant payment that left the tabloid's accounts on the exact day the first diary excerpt was published. The money didn't go to a person named Caryn. That would be too easy. It went through a maze. It was routed through 3 different digital wallets, bounced between 2 offshore holding accounts, and finally, it landed. Where did it land? It was deposited into an online bank account registered to an LLC. At first glance, the LLC seemed generic, something like Farm and Lifestyle Consulting, but when the investigator pulled the public registry documents for that LLC, the address listed wasn't an office. It was a P.O. box in Hillsboro, Oregon. The investigator then cross-referenced that P.O. box with public records associated with the Roloff Farm employees and associates. The match was immediate and undeniable. That P.O. box is the registered mailing address for Caryn Chandler's personal business entity, the same entity she uses for her consulting fees and personal investments. The money from the tabloid, the payment for Amy's humiliation, traveled across the world digitally, only to land right in Caryn's pocket. The chain of evidence was now unbreakable. They had the reflection of her phone at the scene of the crime, and they had the money trail leading to her bank account. This revelation changes the entire landscape of the show and the family dynamic. We have to pause and process the level of malice this requires. This wasn't a slip of the tongue. This wasn't Caryn venting to a friend. This was a calculated decision to monetize Amy's suffering. She found the journals, she read them, she realized their value, she photographed them, negotiated a price, and set up a secure way to receive the funds. Every step of that process took time. Every step was a choice to hurt Amy. The motive? That is the question everyone is asking. Why would she do this? Was it just for the money? Reports suggest Caryn has been feeling insecure about her standing in the family and the public eye. Despite years of being with Matt, many fans still view her as the other woman. By leaking these diaries, which paint Amy as unstable and bitter, the theory is that Caryn hoped to change the public narrative. If Amy looks crazy, Caryn looks like the saint who saved Matt. If Amy looks impossible to live with, Caryn's past actions seem justified. It was an attempt to assassinate Amy's character to boost her own reputation, funded by the very tabloids she claims to hate. Now, imagine the position this puts the rest of the family in. Zach and Tori have already distanced themselves from the farm and from Matt and Caryn. This news, if proven true, vindicates every hesitation they ever had. It proves that their instincts about the toxicity at the farm were right. But for Jeremy and Audrey, who have tried to maintain a middle ground, this is the line in the sand. Audrey discovering the clue places her right in the center of the drama. She is the one holding the match that is about to burn the farmhouse down. And what about Matt? This is the most volatile variable in the equation. Matt has defended Caryn against every accusation for years. He has chosen her over his children, over his ex-wife, and over the peace of the family. He has always claimed that Caryn is misunderstood, that she wants what is best for everyone. How do you explain this to him? How do you show him the photos, the reflection, the bank transfer? The betrayal here isn't just against Amy, it's against Matt too. By doing this, Caryn has exposed the farm and the family to massive legal liability. Amy could sue for invasion of privacy, emotional distress, and defamation. She could own the very farm Caryn is trying to rule over. Caryn put everything Matt built at risk for a quick payout and a petty vendetta. The stage is set for a confrontation unlike anything we have ever seen. The investigation is complete. The file is thick with evidence. The family knows. Amy knows. The only person who doesn't know that the walls are closing in is Caryn. She is likely still counting the money, thinking she got away with the perfect crime, thinking that the anonymous source label will protect her forever. She doesn't realize that a simple reflection in a glossy page has undone everything. As we prepare to move into the next phase of this story, you have to ask yourself, is there any coming back from this? Can Matt possibly stay with her after seeing the receipts? Or will this be the moment the spell is finally broken? We are hearing that the family is planning an intervention, not for drugs or alcohol, but for the truth. They are planning to sit Matt down without Caryn present to lay out the evidence. They want him to see the reality of who he is sleeping next to before the legal papers are served. This story is far from over. In fact, the explosion is just beginning. In part 2, we are going to take you inside that room. We will break down the moment the confrontation happens, Matt's initial denial, and the shocking defense Caryn tries to use when she is finally cornered. We will also look at the legal strategy Amy's team is putting together, which insiders say could be a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that targets Caryn's personal assets. The farmhouse walls have ears, but the journals have a voice, and that voice is about to scream. Stay tuned, because you have not heard the worst of it yet. The atmosphere at Roloff Farms has shifted from tense to absolutely toxic, and if the reports we are receiving are accurate, we are witnessing the final hours of the status quo. Welcome back to the investigation that is exposing the darkest secret in the history of Little People, Big World. In part 1, we established the smoking gun, a reflection of Caryn's limited edition phone case caught in the ink of Amy's stolen diary pages, and a digital money trail linking the tabloid payoff directly to Caryn's private LLC. The evidence is undeniable, but evidence means nothing until it is presented to the judge and jury. In this case, the judge is Matt Roloff, and the verdict he renders will determine the future of the farm, the family, and the show. We are now taking you inside the intervention that changed everything. This is The Reckoning. According to exclusive theories circulating among insiders, the siblings, Zach, Jeremy, and even Jacob, put aside their own feuds for the first time in years. The severity of Caryn's alleged actions, the sheer malice of selling their mother's private trauma for cash, terrified them. They realized that if Caryn could do this to Amy, she could do it to any of them. Sources suggest that Jeremy and Audrey spearheaded the meeting, reaching out to Matt to request an emergency sit-down. They laid a trap, telling Matt it was about the grandchildren to ensure he would come alone, without Caryn tagging along as she usually does. The location was neutral ground, likely a private room at a local restaurant or perhaps Zach's property, far away from the prying eyes and ears of the farmhouse. When Matt arrived, he reportedly expected a discussion about holiday plans or filming schedules. Instead, he walked into an ambush of evidence. We are told that Audrey placed a thick manila folder on the table. There was no small talk, there were no pleasantries. They simply opened the file. The first thing Matt saw was the zoomed-in photo of the diary page with the phone case reflection next to a printout of Caryn's Instagram story featuring the same case. Then, the cybersecurity report. The flowchart showing the money moving from the tabloid through the shell accounts and landing in the P.O. Box account Matt knows intimately because he has likely helped Caryn with her business logistics in the past. Witnesses to the aftermath describe Matt as looking visibly shaken, almost ghostly. You have to understand Matt's position here. He is a man who prides himself on control, on being the smartest guy in the room. To realize that he has been played, that the woman sleeping next to him has been running a side hustle destroying the mother of his children, is a blow to his ego and his heart. At first, insiders claim he tried to rationalize it. He reportedly asked if the bank account number could be a mistake or if someone hacked Caryn's phone. This is a classic response: denial. He didn't want to believe that his partner was capable of such calculated cruelty. But the kids were relentless. They didn't let him off the hook. They explained that the odds of the phone case and the bank account both being coincidences were statistically impossible. They told him that Amy was already speaking to her legal team about a forensic audit of the farm's security, which would inevitably expose everything anyway. The ultimatum was delivered. The children allegedly told Matt that as long as Caryn remained on the farm and in his life, they could not trust him. They could not bring their children around a woman who weaponizes privacy for profit. It was a choice, the girlfriend who sold them out, or the legacy of his family. Matt left that meeting with the folder in his hand and a storm brewing in his mind. He drove back to the farm, back to the scene of the crime, to confront Caryn. This is where the narrative becomes explosive. We are hearing reports about the confrontation that took place inside the farmhouse that night. Matt didn't yell immediately. He is strategic. He reportedly waited until they were sitting down, perhaps over a glass of wine, and simply slid the photos across the counter. He asked her to explain. The reaction from Caryn was reportedly not one of remorse, but of defensive rage. Sources suggest she initially tried to deny it, claiming the photos were doctored, but when Matt pointed out the bank transfer details, her story shifted. This is the most disturbing part of the theory. Instead of apologizing, Caryn allegedly pivoted to victimhood. She reportedly argued that she did it for them. She claimed that the family finances were tight, that the show's ratings needed a boost, and that creating a scandal around Amy would keep the Roloffs in the headlines, securing another season. She tried to frame this betrayal as a business decision, a twisted form of marketing. She supposedly told Matt that Amy had been awful to her for years and that releasing the diaries was just leveling the playing field, exposing Amy's true colors to the world. She thought Matt, the ruthless businessman, would understand the strategy. She miscalculated. Matt Roloff might be a tough businessman, but he knows the difference between business and liability. He reportedly exploded. He realized instantly that Caryn hadn't just hurt Amy. She had handed Amy a loaded gun. By leaking private documents, Caryn exposed the entire farm operation to a massive lawsuit. If Amy sues for defamation, an invasion of privacy, she could demand damages that would bankrupt the LLC. Caryn's petty cash grab for a few $1,000s from a tabloid had put the multi-million-dollar estate at risk. Matt shouted that she had acted as a rogue agent, that she had violated the sanctity of the property, and that she had humiliated him by making him look like a fool who couldn't control his own household. The argument reportedly spilled out onto the patio, loud enough for workers on the property to hear raised voices. Caryn was heard screaming that she was owed this money for putting up with the family's drama for so long. This slip of the tongue is crucial. It reveals that she views her relationship with Matt not as a partnership, but as a job for which she feels undercompensated. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. While this war was waging at the farmhouse, Amy was making her moves. We are told that her legal team has already drafted a cease and desist, not just to the tabloid, but to Caryn personally. They are preparing a civil suit alleging intentional infliction of emotional distress and theft of property. But Amy's going further. She is reportedly petitioning for a restraining order to keep Caryn away from her personal archives and any family gatherings, citing the leak as proof that Caryn is a danger to her privacy and mental safety. This effectively bans Caryn from filming any scenes with Amy. If Caryn can't film with Amy and the kids refuse to film with Caryn, she effectively has no role on the show. Caryn Chandler is facing immediate cancellation, not just from the internet, but from the production schedule. The fallout the next morning was swift. Matt was seen driving alone around the property, looking haggard. Caryn was nowhere to be seen, with rumors suggesting she stayed at her own home in Oregon rather than the farm. But the silence is temporary. The network is reportedly in a panic. The sanctity of the reality aspect of the show is broken if a cast member is actively sabotaging another through illegal means. The producers are scrambling. Do they fire Caryn and try to redeem Matt? Do they document the breakup? Or do they try to sweep it under the rug? The problem with sweeping it under the rug is the internet. The fans are already piecing it together. The good news and insider theories we are discussing are starting to leak into the mainstream comment sections. Viewers are noticing the tension. They are noticing the sudden disappearance of that specific phone case from Caryn's social media. She deleted the highlight reel featuring it, which is essentially an admission of guilt. Deleting evidence is what guilty people do. We also need to talk about the financial implications for Caryn. If this goes to court, the forensic accountant won't just look at the tabloid payment. They will look at everything. There are theories that this wasn't the first time Caryn sold information. Insiders are now questioning leaks from years ago, rumors about the farm negotiations, leaks about Zach's medical history, stories about the divorce settlement. If the investigation reveals a pattern of Caryn acting as a paid mole for the tabloids, for years, Matt will realize that the woman he planned to marry has been the leak, sinking his ship the entire time. This is a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. Matt sacrificed his relationship with his sons and his ex-wife to defend Caryn, only to find out she was the scorpion on his back. He is now isolated. The kids are rallying around Amy. The public is rallying around Amy. Matt is left standing in the middle of his pumpkin patch kingdom with the woman who betrayed them all. So what happens next? Our sources indicate that Matt is consulting with his own lawyers, separate from Caryn's. He is looking for a way to distance the farm from her LLC to protect his assets. There is talk of a breakup statement being drafted, but knowing Matt, he will try to spin it. He might claim they are taking a break to deal with personal issues. But we know the truth. We know it's because he caught her red-handed. Caryn, on the other hand, is reportedly looking for a golden parachute. The theory is that she is threatening to write a tell-all book if Matt dumps her. She knows where the bodies are buried. She knows the secrets of the farm finances and the production manipulation. She is holding Matt hostage with her knowledge. This standoff is the most dangerous moment in the family's history. It is a game of chicken between a man with everything to lose and a woman with nothing left to lose. Amy, ironically, is the one coming out of this strongest. The release of the diaries intended to shame her has backfired spectacularly. Reading her raw pain has only made the audience sympathize with her more. It humanized her. It showed that her bitterness was actually deep, unresolved grief caused by the very people attacking her. She has the moral high ground, the legal leverage, and the support of her children. She is currently living her best life with Chris, watching the karma she waited years for finally arrive at the farm gates. We are going to keep our ears to the ground. We have investigators watching the court filings in Oregon daily. As soon as that lawsuit drops, as soon as the official papers confirm Caryn Chandler as the defendant, we will be the first to bring it to you. This story is a reminder that the truth always comes out, sometimes in the reflection of a glossy page, sometimes in a bank transfer, but it always comes out. Matt Roloff has a decision to make, and the clock is ticking. Will he choose the farm, or will he go down with the ship? Make sure you are subscribed and have the bell icon clicked. We are preparing a deep dive into Caryn's past business dealings for our next video, and you do not want to miss what we have found about her history before she even met the Roloffs. The rabbit hole goes deeper than you can imagine. Until then, keep watching, keep questioning, and remember, reality TV is just a cover for the real drama happening behind the scenes. If you thought the confrontation inside the farmhouse was the climax of this story, you are wrong. That was just the spark that lit the fuse. What has happened in the last 48 hours at Roloff Farms is nothing short of a total regime change. Welcome back to LPBW Update, where we are tracking the fallout of the diary scandal minute by minute. We have just received new information regarding the immediate aftermath of Matt's confrontation with Caryn, and it confirms our suspicions. The relationship is not just strained, it is being physically dismantled. We are talking about moving trucks, security details, and a new player entering the ring who has remained silent until now, Chris Marek. According to witnesses near the Helvetia property, late yesterday afternoon, a nondescript moving van was spotted idling near the entrance of the farmhouse. It wasn't a massive commercial truck, but a smaller, unmarked cargo van. This aligns perfectly with the soft exit theory insiders have been whispering about. The theory is that Matt, wanting to avoid a media circus, gave Caryn a deadline to remove her personal effects from the main house. He didn't want a scene, but he wanted her out. Sources claim that Caryn was not the one loading the boxes. Instead, two of the farm hands were seen carrying out garment bags and crates of what looked like office supplies, likely the remnants of her tenure running the farm's events. Caryn was reportedly seen sitting in her car, furiously texting, refusing to step foot on the dirt she once thought she would inherit. But the physical removal of Caryn is only half the battle. The psychological war has just escalated because the tabloid blog, the one Caryn allegedly sold the diaries to, has realized they are on the losing side. When Amy's lawyers threatened a massive defamation suit, the blog didn't protect their source. They panicked. In an effort to save themselves from bankruptcy, Reports suggest the blog editors have flipped. They haven't just confirmed Caryn was the source, they have allegedly leaked snippets of the negotiation emails to Matt's legal team to prove they were solicited by her, not the other way around. This is where the story gets truly dark. The emails supposedly show Caryn negotiating the price of Amy's pain. In one alleged email, she reportedly wrote, "The entry about the divorce date is worth more." She was crying while writing it. Reading that line must have been the moment Matt Roloff's heart finally hardened. It proves malice. It proves she read the tears of the mother of his children and saw dollar signs. It destroys the "I did it for the show" defense instantly. While Matt is dealing with the betrayal, Chris Marek has finally broken his silence. Chris is known for being a calm, steady presence. He avoids drama. He tries to be friends with Matt. But this attack on Amy was too personal. Insider theories suggest that for the first time ever, Chris drove to the farm without Amy. He went man to man. We are hearing reports of a very intense, low-volume conversation between Chris and Matt in the machine shed. Chris reportedly didn't yell. He didn't have to. He simply told Matt that if Caryn ever leaks another word about Amy, or if she even looks in Amy's direction, he will personally fund the legal war to burn the farm's assets to the ground. He reminded Matt that Amy has protected Matt's reputation for years, but the gloves are off. It was a protective husband drawing a line in the sand, and by all accounts, Matt had no comeback. He just nodded. He knew Chris was right. Now, let's talk about the network. TLC is currently in crisis mode. Filming for the new season was scheduled to pick up soon, with storylines focusing on Matt and Caryn's engagement planning. That storyline is now dead in the water. You cannot film an engagement when the bride-to-be is being sued by the ex-wife for theft and defamation. Producers are scrambling to pivot. The new angle, the single life of Matt Roloff, and the potential reconciliation with his children. We are hearing that producers are already trying to get Zach and Tori back on board, pitching a redemption arc where the family comes back together to heal the farm now that the toxic element, Caryn, is gone. It is a desperate move to save the show, but it might work. The audience would love to see the Roloffs united against a common enemy. However, Caryn is not going quietly. As the moving van pulled away, sources say she sent a final cryptic text to the family group chat, a chat she had not yet been removed from. The text allegedly read, "I have more than just diaries." This threat has sent shivers down everyone's spine. What else does she have? Recordings, financial documents, emails from Matt complaining about the kids. Caryn has been the gatekeeper of Matt's life for a decade. She knows where every skeleton is buried because she helped dig the graves. This suggests that we are moving from a scandal to a standoff. She is holding on to leverage to ensure she gets a settlement, a payout to go away quietly. Matt is now in a position where he might have to pay her hush money, not because he loves her, but because he fears her. He is looking at his empire and realizing it is built on glass, and Caryn is holding a hammer. The tragedy is palpable. Matt pushed everyone away for this woman, and now he has to pay her to leave him alone. But there is one final twist developing this morning. Fans have noticed that the farm's official Instagram account has unfollowed Caryn. It is a small digital detail, but in 2024, it is a public declaration of war. Matt is scrubbing her from the brand. He is trying to erase the Chandler era. But the internet never forgets, and the screenshots of the diaries are still out there, circulating forever. As we look ahead to the next few days, we are keeping a close watch on the county court records for a restraining order filing, and we are monitoring the tabloid blog for any further retaliatory leaks. If Caryn carries out her threat to release more than just diaries, we could be looking at the end of Little People, Big World entirely. The network will not support a show that is actively being dismantled by criminal blackmail. This is the most dangerous time for the Roloff legacy. Amy is vindicated but scarred. Matt is isolated and threatened. The children are watching from the sidelines, waiting to see if their father can survive the monster he invited into their home. And Caryn, she is somewhere in Oregon, plotting her next move, realizing that she played the Game of Thrones and lost, but she is determined to burn the kingdom down on her way out. We will be back as soon as the legal papers are officially served. Rumor has it that Amy's lawyer is planning a press conference on the steps of the courthouse to address the privacy violation. You do not want to miss that coverage. Make sure you like this video to help the algorithm spread the truth and subscribe so you are notified the second we upload part 4. This is not just reality TV anymore. This is real life, and it is getting ugly. Thanks for watching LPBW Update. We are entering the endgame of the Roloff Farms saga, and if the legal documents we are hearing about are real, there will be no winners, only survivors. Welcome to the final chapter of our investigation into the leaked diary scandal. In the previous segments, we covered the discovery of the theft, the confrontation with Matt, and Caryn's forced exit from the property. But now, the battle moves from the farmhouse to the courthouse. We have received exclusive updates regarding the legal strategy Amy Roloff's team is deploying, and it is scorched earth. They are not just suing for damages, they are aiming to dismantle Caryn's ability to ever profit from the Roloff name again. According to legal experts analyzing the situation, Amy's attorneys are likely filing for a permanent injunction. This isn't just a restraining order, it is a gag order. They are seeking a court ruling that would legally prohibit Caryn Chandler from speaking about, publishing, or selling any information regarding Amy Roloff's private life, past, present, or future. If granted, this would effectively neutralize Caryn's threat to release more than just diaries. It would silence her. If she breaks that order, she goes to jail. This is a power move. It shows that Amy is not afraid of what Caryn has. She is focused on the principle of the violation. But how is Matt reacting to the looming legal apocalypse? Insider reports paint a picture of a man in total isolation. With Caryn off the farm and the kids keeping their distance until the dust settles, Matt is reportedly spending his days in the custom-built office, reviewing the farm's trust documents. Theories suggest he is looking for a loophole, a way to separate the farm's assets from his personal liability. He knows that if Caryn decides to turn on him and testify that he knew about the leaks, even if he didn't, he could be dragged down with her. He is playing a chess game against his own former partner. There is also a rumor circulating about a secret meeting between Matt and the TLC executives. The network is in a bind. They have years of footage of Caryn and Matt portrayed as a happy couple. To air that now would be to lie to the audience. The theory is that the producers are pitching a confessional season. They want Matt to sit down on camera and admit to the lapse in judgment. They want him to apologize to Amy publicly. It would be the highest rated episode in the show's history. But Matt Roloff is a proud man. Will he humble himself to save the show, or will he refuse, leading to the cancellation of Little People, Big World? And what of Caryn's plan B? We mentioned earlier that she felt she was owed money. Since the moving trucks left, reports indicate she has been spotted meeting with a literary agent in downtown Portland. While she might be legally blocked from writing about Amy, there is nothing stopping her from writing a memoir about her own life and her time on the farm, vaguely referencing the drama without using names. It is a loophole, a way to cash out without technically breaking the law. It is a warning shot to Matt. Pay me a settlement or I write the book. The fans, however, have made their choice. The online polls are unanimous. 95% of viewers side with Amy. The comment sections are flooded with demands for Caryn to be fired. This public pressure is the final nail in the coffin. A reality show cannot sustain a villain that the audience genuinely hates, not just loves to hate, but genuinely finds morally repellent. The audience has drawn a line. They will not watch a show that profits a woman who sells a mother's trauma. So, where does this leave us? We are looking at the end of an era. The happy patchwork family narrative is dead. The divorce was painful, but this betrayal is fatal. We predict that in the coming weeks, we will see an official press release from Matt Roloff announcing a separation from Caryn Chandler. He will frame it as a mutual decision, but we know the truth. We know it was the reflection in the phone case. We know it was the bank transfer to the P.O. box. We know it was the diaries. As we close this investigation, keep your eyes on the headlines. The moment that lawsuit is docketed, the moment the press release drops, we will be live. This story serves as a grim reminder. You can own the land, you can own the big house, and you can have the TV cameras, but if you lose the trust of your family, you have nothing. Thank you for sticking with us through this deep dive. This has been the most complex and disturbing story we have ever covered on LPBW Update. If you appreciate us digging for the truth that the tabloids are afraid to print, please hit the like button. It helps us fund these investigations. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the fallout from this is just beginning, and you need to be here when the final verdict is read. Until next time, watch your back and watch your reflections.